Good morning. I'm Kathy. It has been a long time since I recorded one of these, and today just seemed like as good a day as any to start it back up. In my head, what I heard at the kitchen table was, when you don't know where to begin with where you're at. And here's where I'm at. Grief. Heavy, right? Let's start with that. And emotional sobriety. 17 plus years ago, my grandfather died. I'd been sober 6 months, maybe. And I got a call from my mother on my way to work. The emotions I dealt with before sobriety were anger and happiness. Maybe some sadness, but mostly anger and happiness and some sadness. I didn't know that there was a plethora of other emotions, of heavy, sometimes almost impossible to deal with emotions. And when my mother called me with this news, I got off the freeway, I called my boss, and I sat in a park for an hour because what I wanted to do was go find relief from that feeling. It was a horrible feeling. I hated it. It incapacitated me for 3 days. I went home after my sit in the park, and I lay on my bed for 3 days, concerning my family and myself. I couldn't lift my head. I literally, physically couldn't lift my head. But I didn't use. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. So progress, I guess. I didn't call anybody either. Maybe I did. That was a long time ago. Then fast forward to 7 years ago. Is it 7 already? My mother died. And I walked through those emotions. And I sat at her side as she passed. And every year, I've dealt a little better with the grief that comes around the time that she died, or around her birthday, and sometimes holidays, and sometimes just rough days. 2 weeks ago was the anniversary of her death. And it snuck up on me again. But I recognized what the feeling was and the emotion that came with it much more quickly. The reason for that is that I have done the work in not running away from my emotions, not running away from feelings that I have, and the physical sensation that my body has when those feelings come. Because even if I don't acknowledge the feeling, my body will tell me something's wrong. Sometimes it's tension in my shoulders, or a heavy heart, or tightness in my abdomen. Something's, there's a sign if I'm willing to pay attention to it, right? To be present. And it took me a second, but 3 days this time, maybe 2.5, of some manic activity and recognizing where I was at in that process. And then a week later, having dealt with that and written about it and talked to my sponsor and texted some friends and talking to some other people, because I can't hold this stuff in, I need to share it. Last Monday, a week ago today, a friend died. And because I was in touch with that feeling of feeling, as hard as it was and as painful as it was to experience this loss, I didn't feel the need to escape from it. I felt my feelings. I acknowledged them. I talked to people about them. I wrote about them. And I continued to walk through life. Because what I realized in my contemplation this week about this man's death was that we touch so many lives while we're alive. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes you leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. But there are so many people who are affected by the death of a single person. And this man was no exception. And his touch was, for the most part, from my experience with him, was good. He was a good guy. He was a nice guy. And there are a lot of people who are, feeling various levels of emotion now because he's gone. And I also get to feel those emotions because I choose to, because I've done a lot of work on myself to be aware of how I'm feeling emotionally and physically with emotions. And so this week I didn't have to seek relief from the feelings. This week I got to walk through it and have some low moments and some high moments and lots of joy, because life does go on. When I leave this plane, people will be sad. People will miss me. I have left an impression so far, and hopefully there's not too many people who will have a bad taste in their mouths. There might be. But there's this ripple that goes out from me to everyone, and from you to everyone. And the question I asked myself earlier on this week was, what kind of ripple am I leaving? And I'm happy to say right now, I think it's going to be a pretty good one. I have many years ahead of me, as far as I know. But the other thing I realized this week is that nobody knows. Nobody knows. A month ago, the man who died on Monday had no idea that he had a month left. And things happen and things change, and all of a sudden that person is gone from our lives. Some people, they know that their time is coming quickly. But nobody knows when that time is, right? So that's where I'm at. Begin where you're at. Every morning I do writing. Every morning I do gratitude. Every morning I check in with the universe, and I see how I'm feeling from my head to my toes, physically, emotionally, mentally. Sometimes it's very noisy up there. This week I've worked hard to get that clutter out of my head. And today is a good day. It's a beautiful day. Right now it's overcast. It is not 90 degrees yet. I slept well. I woke up. I can move all my limbs. I can walk on my own legs. I can see, I can hear, I can speak, I can taste, I can touch, I can feel. Life is good. I have relationships today that I'm grateful that I have. And that's where I'm at. Apparently, to some degree, I have achieved some emotional sobriety. It's taken a long time, and I know there's still work to be done, but today's a good day. Today I'm in a good place. I hope today you are also in a good place. We're all in this together, and we're all connected to each other. So be good to your fellow humans today, whoever you encounter. Show kindness and compassion for yourself and for them. Thank you.